1575, Lucas Bolzius and his family moved to Amsterdam from Cologne, changed their name to Bols, and began distilling spirits. Exactly what they were distilling at that time, we don't know, but they were distilling.
They were distilling something called cornbrand wine, and the thing about cornbrand wine is it's basically just, it's a grain eau de vie. People were experimenting with putting things into it, not just juniper, but any sort of floral thing they could think of, because the cornbrand vine made from a malted grain did have some kind of sour taste to it, and it was to disguise the spirit because they hadn't invented filtration systems. They really hadn't improved distillation to a point. So you had all sorts of congeners and they just didn't want taste.
Clearly it worked. By 1602, Bols was preferred supplier to the 17 gentlemen, the inner circle of the powerful Dutch East India Company.
Yeah, but got to go back a couple of steps here. 1595. Now, we wrote a book called Shaken Not Stirred a long time ago, and we said, yes, it was Franciscus de la Boe, and it was 1650. And you know where we got that from? From a book in 1834 that everyone believed all the way up to this time. It's
And there was only
been the past couple of years we know
one
difference.
problem that we discovered about that book. The author was dyslexic.
Boy, was he. It was supposed to be more like 1560, not 1650.
And as for Dr. Sylvius, there were two of them.
And both of them worked at the University of Leiden, except one came before the other one by a century.
One in the 1500s, one in the 1600s.
Yeah.
And now, which one was it?
It was Sylvius de la Boe, because his specialty was kidneys, organs in general. The other guy, Franciscus de la Boe, you actually have one in your brain. It's called the Sylvan Fission.
Did you say it was him?
No, Sylvius.
But you said it was him?
It was de la Boe.
Was it
No,
him?
it really wasn't. It
him.
wasn't
That's-
either one of them, actually.
No.
But, you know, they had to put some popular
Genever
names.
was already in production
Yeah.
by that point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that he invented it, he
He's
certainly
just
popularized
it.
it.
He made a great recipe. He
No.
called it Genever. And apparently that one was one of the ones that got picked up more than anyone else.
But
Him
there
and
are
Bowles.
references to it from a contemporary to that time and just before that time. So in fact, we really can't say that Dr. Sylvius invented gin at all.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, nobody is too sure where it comes from, because there are documents that show that in Switzerland they were making something called Genever. And Genever is Genever in Switzerland and in France. It comes over to Holland, which at the time there was part of northern France. There was also part of the Low Countries, that the Netherlands was part of. Everything was owned by Spain. And so it could have come from anywhere in the region, any one of the places where people were used to having juniper as a flavor that was considered to be a great flavor. So no one will ever truly know, unless someone's digging up a piece of paper I haven't seen yet, or any of the rest of the historians have ever seen yet. But that's as far as we know. Now,
On to the Dutch War.
on the Dutch War.
The troops that came to fight in the Dutch War of Independence, 1567, and the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, similarly found their nerve drinking Genever and happily brought home a taste for what they called gin.
Well, they called it Dutch courage, and it was a usual thing in this time where someone would have a dram of something. Does anybody know how much a dram is? I can tell you.
We must have a Scot in the room.
We do have a Scotsman. Come on,
but,
one Scotsman in the room. No? Okay. Oh, well, there's one. No, he sat down. Darn. Okay. It's 1.25 ounces. So they were having good, decent shot every single day. Imagine people used to give their babies a shot of spirit every single morning during this time. It's not fun. I love that part. Okay. Now, let's move on to the US. Believe it or not, the first time gin, or anything like gin, came to the US was in 1602. You may think it might have been around cocktails. No, it came a lot earlier than
1602
that.
or 1609?
Well, actually it started 68. You're right, 1609. Sorry, sometimes mundane. Never mind. Anyways, it's because of this guy named Henry Hudson. Henry Hudson in 1607 was commissioned by the Muscovy Company of England to find the Great Northwest Passage to Asia. Everybody was looking for the Great Northwest Passage so they could all get something in on Japan and China and bringing in spices and everything else. I mean, this They were all insane for this stuff. Didn't find it the first time. 1608, he goes, he says, well, let me try going over Russia. That didn't work. So the Dutch East India Company says, well, you know, there's this guy, Captain John Smith, and he seems to have found some way of going south, and maybe there's something south. So they commissioned him to find the great southwest passage to Asia. Why not? Might as well try something. Well, he's flowing down, comes through, all of a sudden he stops on this funny place. And it's kind of like there's a bay there, and there's kind of like this really long island there, and he goes, okay, well, let's stop for a bit. And meets up with these Indians, the Delaware tribe on this long island. Okay, well, you know, might as well be friendly, so, you know, let the chief try some spirits, yeah, see whether or not he likes it. Chief absolutely adored this stuff. Had another one, passed out cold. Next morning, he wakes up and he goes, do you mind giving some more to the rest of these guys? I mean, we're talking Genever here, yeah.
So
well,
he let the rest of the elders in the tribe try the spirit.
And everybody fell asleep again. But the thing is thereafter, I mean, he left, he went wandering around. Of course, he ended up with a complete mutiny. Never really did find the Northwest Passage, Southwest Passage, but he did help to name the place that you're standing on. Because Manhattan, when it was originally named by the Indians, was, how do I say this now, Mannahatchiniek? Which means the place where we got high. Think about that.
There were some
happening.
temperate writers later who tried to change that to the place of high hills. Now,
What hill?
yeah, if you walk
Lennox
around,
Hill?
I don't